Poppy was born in Pensacola, Florida. When she was 9 years old, her family moved to Woodlawn Park, California. The move was during the Great Migration, a time when coloreds, as they were called, moved either to the East Coast or the West Coast. Her father had lost his job, and so her parents made the decision to move to Chula Vista, California, and the father would go first to make a way for his family. He moved in with his parents, who had moved to Chula Vista to live with his oldest brother, who was in the military. So he wasn't there long before he found a job. And it was a government job working on 32nd Street Naval Base, cleaning out the ships that came into the docks daily. He even had benefits, something that he had not heard of in Pensacola. While he was there, he worked hard, saved his money, sent some home to his wife and children, and wrote to them weekly. Of course, he needed a little help with his spelling as he only had a third-grade education. And he was working hard for that time when he could send that all-important train ticket to his wife and his 3 daughters to come live with him in California. And when he sent that train ticket off, he started looking for a place where his family could stay. And he found a small house in Woodlawn Park, right up the hill from his parents, and paid that $12 monthly rental fee. He also bought a stove, beds, and a couch. He wanted the best for his family when they got here. In the meantime, his wife and his 3 daughters were getting ready to leave home and family and head to California for a completely new way of living. Of course, when they got that all-important train ticket and they went to that train depot, they had to ride in the colored car, because that's the way it was in 1945 America. It was also wartime. So when they got on that colored car, there were lots of colored soldiers in there, which was good because these soldiers missed their wives, their children, their mothers. And so they picked these 3 children up as their own, and they babysat for this mother, which allowed her to rest every now and then as they made that trip across to California. When they got to the Arizona-California state line, they were able to switch out of that colored car and into the regular cars where everybody sat, because trains were not segregated in California. But that mother and her 3 daughters chose to stay in that colored car because they felt safe and protected. As they pulled into the station, the girls just hung on to the windows looking for their father. And it gave that mother time to gather up her luggage and all of the things that they had used while they were in that car for a week. It was their home for that week. And as she gathered her belongings and stepped down off that train with these 3 girls holding hands and the youngest one holding onto her skirt, she saw him. She could spot his smile across the room. And as they got off the train, he ran to grab her and his 3 daughters and give them all the hug that he had not been able to do. It had been almost a year since they had seen each other. He picked up the luggage and they walked toward the 1929 Model A Ford with the rumble seat that he had purchased just the day before. He was not going to beg a ride from anybody for his family. And he drove them to that house that he had rented. He was so proud that he was able to provide for his family. Well, it was summer when that family got there. And across the street was a family that had children just about the same age as these three girls. They were 9 and 6, and then there was the 3-year-old who became the tag along with the others, but they all made sure she was well taken care of. At the end of summer and time for them to all go back to school, the 3-year-old went down the hill to her grandparents to stay with them and all of her cousins who had also migrated to Chula Vista. And because these parents all worked, her mother was a day worker, which meant she cleaned other people's houses. When school started at John J. Montgomery Elementary School for this 9-year-old and her 6-year-old sister, she was so excited to get back into education, which she loved so much. And she learned so many new things about the world and how it functioned. Of course, she did not always learn good things about her people, but she knew that if she got home to her mom and dad, they would be able to make everything be all right and to let her know that being Negro, which is what they were being called at this time, was still a wonderful thing to be. She completed John J. Montgomery Elementary School and moved into Chula Vista Junior High, where she learned even more and was at the top of her class in all of her subjects. When she finished there, she moved into San Diego High School, which is where her mother put her because she knew that at San Diego High School, there were more Negroes there, and she would be able to take subjects and see people who made her feel so much better about who she was and what she was doing. She joined Junior Achievement and became the first Negro president of that organization. At 15, she started playing the saxophone and was a part of the marching band. As she grew and when she finished San Diego High School, nursing was what she chose to do. And she attended the nursing program at City College. When she completed that program, she began to work for one of the Negro doctors in San Diego. And she stayed there for a while and decided she really wanted to become an operating room technician. So she returned to school, completed that particular course of study, and began her work as an operating room nurse. After a while, after many years, she decided she really wanted to go into the field of education and entered Long Beach State, where she got her BA in education and began to teach speech. After that, she went into UCLA, where she got her master's in education and continued teaching speech. Then she decided to enter Northern Illinois University, where she received her doctorate in speech communications. When she returned home to Chula Vista, she applied for and received a job at Grossmont College, where she worked for several years before the Grossmont speech department had opened up. That position opened up and she applied for it, but was turned down because it was said she was too qualified for that position, which she kind of knew what that meant. And so she sued Grossmont Community College and received the position as head of the speech department. Dr. Anjanette Sophie McFarland was one of the most well-loved speech department heads at Grossmont College. And I lift my voice to her because that is my oldest sister, and she was also the founder of Black Storytellers of San Diego. I lift my voice and I sing to Dr. Mack and those she brought so far along the way. Though she's no longer here on earth, her light still shines and leads others on to their personal victory. Dr. Anjanette Sophie McFarland.
Oh, that's a nice story.